Well, hi, good morning. Welcome to my shop. Thanks a lot for being here and watching my last video where I messed around with this guy in conjunction with my SDR radio, all to the point of essentially giving up on that. And I went on, right after doing that, right after the last video ended, I just carried on, and the next thing I did was I aligned these buttons. And I'll post that video probably after this one. But I also did something else. I came back in my shop just before dinner yesterday, and this big thought in my head, why don't I try to use this thing the way it was intended to be used? Maybe I've missed the mark by trying to get the SDR to help out with using this. Maybe I should really just try to use this. I quickly set it up, and you can probably see in the camera what's on the scope here. And I got somewhere, but I didn't want to get all the way there because I'd rather do it on video, because of the process of discovery is so much fun to watch. It's not only fun for me to experience it, but it's fun to watch. So I took it that far and left it. That's where we are starting today. But now I'm going to show you why my cats are depressed. Here's why they're depressed. That's a view out my back window just beside the shop here, out of my laundry room window in fact. And that's what the cats see when they look out their windows. Nowhere to go without getting snow on your little footies. So that's why the cats are depressed. Now that's not a lot of snow there. That's a very small amount of snow. I'm going to go grab that camera and bring it back in to the shop here. It's pretty bright out there, that's for sure. Now, untangle my wire. So I've always wanted to put a camera in the window there and let you see what what's going on in my backyard. Sounds like a technically very simple thing to do, right? But actually it came with all kinds of challenges doing that simple thing. We'll worry about the focus later. Okay, so what's the deal here today? So the deal is trying to use this sweep generator. Like all sweep generators, it has an output for your scope. Here's the output for the scope, and this is to control the scope's horizontal sweep, okay, which is normally controlled by the scope itself. The scope has its own internal sweep circuits, of course, but to make a sweep of this sort work, you need to let this guy control the sweep on the scope. So I've done that with these leads. They go up to this input here, and they result in this display because I have this set to XY. That's why this is working. Now the sweep here is not very smart. The scope sweep is smart, right? It sweeps across very carefully, blanks the screen, comes back quickly, sweeps across very carefully. A device like this, including my other sweep generator, which is kind of up back here, this FM one down here, which you can't see at all. They're not so smart. They're not smart, but they're clever. Figure that out. So for sweep, they simply use a 60 cycle signal from the wall, and there's no blanking. So they just, as far as I know, there's no blanking. They're just sweeping this beam back and forth. If I could take this beam, this picture, and there are ways of doing this, and take it from what you see now, a straight line, and turn it like this, you would see that it's not a straight line, it's actually an oval or a circle laid flat like this. So if you look at a circle, the beam would be going around the circle. When you lay that flat, you get this kind of thing happening. So it's sweeping back and forth. And what's it sweeping through? Well, my aim is to make it sweep through a band, like a shortwave band. Like if we pick the 11 megacycle band, I think it's from 11, I'm just making this up, 11.3 to 11.7. And it's not very much, really. This thing's meant to sweep huge amounts of the spectrum, up to probably more than 6 megahertz of sweep back and forth. That's a heck of a lot, way more than I need to make this radio work. So generally the sweep is on a minimum. If you remember yesterday in the video, if you picked up on this, even with the sweep set minimum, there still is some amount of sweep happening in the signal. I can't make it turn into a single frequency signal generator. Not this guy. Okay, so bearing in mind what you're seeing is not the circle like this, you're seeing it like this, so you're seeing back and forth, not like a regular scope shows you only one way, right? That's how a regular scope works. Let's see what we can get out of this. Now I've got the radio operating here. It's just making a hum. I have the sweep signal fed into it. This is probably a very low impedance output. It's quieted the antenna circuit. And you don't hear any tone or anything like that. This is not a modulated signal. But you might hear I don't know what they call it, a rumbly sound or a low sound. And that's the sweep going across the tune point of the radio. Don't hear much right now, that's for sure. An interesting thing has happened here. Now, the other, I've explained the motion this way on the scope. Okay, so the vertical part is created by the sound coming out of the speaker. So this lead here is simply connected to the speaker. So what you hear is what you see. So that annoying hum is what's causing this to be tipped a little bit, in fact. So now you can see the out and back. And if you see the out, you see that. And then on the way back, you see that. That's the same thing. Can you see this in the camera? You see it quite clearly. This thing here, which for because of the way the camera works, it looks like it's flickering. When I look at it with my own eyes, it's flickering at twice that speed anyway. So again, what you see in the camera is not necessarily. That's about all I'll say about that. Okay, so that's as big as I can get that. Let me turn up the volume on the radio. Turn down, I can't turn it up any higher. So, now, what are the frequencies? Now, this is supposed to represent, you know, a low frequency here and a high frequency here. As the frequency shifts, low and high, low and high. How low is this? I don't know. How high is this? I don't know. That's part of what we have to figure out here. But we can guess right in the middle is supposed to be what my box is set to. I'm going to give you the longer shot here. So if we look at what this is set to now, and it sounds like I'm explaining this to you, but really I'm just reviewing everything for my own sake here. For the sake of the world. Okay. So on this dial, we are set band B, and band B puts us at about 15 megacycles on this. We discovered by working with this with the SDR, this dial could be way out. There could be some really funky stuff going on in this machine that's throwing this off. So what I want to do is boost the signal coming out of here and watch the effect on the display. Let's go back to the display camera, okay, which for some reason is, let me turn up the volume a little bit here. That click was my hand touching the radio, and that click was a static charge in my body going into the radio chassis. That's what I believe it was. So we're going to turn up the output now and make a hill of beans worth of difference. What is going on? Okay, we're already in the no man's land here. That click you just heard was my finger discharging again into the cabinet of the. Okay, so this is not working the way I think it is. And away we go. Okay, so what's happening here is I'm making changes here, and there's nothing showing up on the screen at all. What has happened? Okay, I still have the SDR connected, which we could take a look at in a minute, but I really want to concentrate on this now. Wait 1 second. Okay, so good. Let me just change things a wee bit here. Just bear with me for a second while I make a video decision of how to do this. So I'm going to put one view onto the screen of another. I think I'm going to try top left corner, basically like that. That's pretty much where the I've got my phone in here, shame on me. Okay, it was actually an email from a customer. And now for a complete change of pace, I've got something here I wanted to show right at the start of the video and I didn't. I was just cleaning up the other day, and this is just a power supply like from so many things. This is from a Sony, I believe, model. Well, I don't know where it's from. But let me go get this note on it here. Let's see if I can get this on camera so you can read it. I may not be able to get my camera to focus well. Let's try the other camera here. Just read it right in the little window. Read the note. If I can hold it still. I'll read it to you. For use with portable CD players without antenna connection. What? For use with portable CD players without antenna connection. So, I thought about this. I ended up just adding it to the list of things I really can't fathom why it is the way it is. I don't know. What are they talking about? A CD player without an antenna? I got a lot of those. I've had a lot of those. I've actually got one of Sony's very original commercial CD players. I've actually got one. One of the very first CD players on the market from Sony. I should bring it in and show it someday. And I guarantee no antenna connection on it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tune this until it's in the range of the radio. We heard it when it hit there. There we are. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Turn this down. Unfortunately, we're going to have to listen to something like this for this whole scheme to work. Let's take we're taking a closer look. Level up. So that sounds like it's retuning the output a little bit, unfortunately. Sweep width. So I'm imagining what's happening is we have the tune point in the radio and I'm moving the sweep around it, and occasionally it's on it, we hear it, and then as it goes out it goes and silence. That's what I'm imagining. It's based on what I saw on the SDR and what I got rolling around in my imagination. So that being the case, I should try to get this in the middle. Why not at 11 here? We're at roughly 11. Let's go there. And the answer is because nothing happens. So this is a lot better than the SDR response. There's one place. So I think we can attribute the fact that it's 14 on here, but it's actually 11 being picked up by the radio. This is out. This is probably 11. This thing's just out of adjustment. Let me try and get it right in the middle now. Let's put a little more volume. Sorry about the volume. Hey, you can do this too. That's better. That's a smarter move, Joe. Out and back. Oops. Hey, that's not going to help. Okay, so one of those shapes is going to help. Which one it's going to be, I don't know. So let's put it back on there, and we'll fool around with the adjustments here a little bit more. Attenuation, so that's just changing the signal going in. Seems to be frequency unstable only at the highest. sweep width. Oh, that's much better there. So this is as I expand the sweep width, it's as if I'm shrinking the display on the scope. Okay, you notice the scope is not getting wider. That's not what's happening. What's happening is that same amount here is showing a bigger and bigger sweep. So, you know, low setting, this is maybe 100 kilohertz. At a high setting, this is 4 megahertz. I really don't know for sure. That's part of the challenge of using this. That's why it comes with a marker generator, which we won't be able to take advantage of. Let's keep going here because we're getting somewhere. So I think this is the tuning peak in the radio. I'm going to tune the radio a bit. We'll see what happens. Well, that's really pretty disappointing. That's not at all what I was expecting. Now, what has changed? Yesterday I did a quick test on this. I got this thing to move back and forth when I tune the radio. Why wouldn't it do that now? Now you can't see my hand on the tuner the way I have this arranged, so I'm going to move that. I'm going to move this over. I'm going to move the camera over. Just bear with me here a second. Let me put it over here. And get rid of it from here. Yeah, that's right. It can be in two places at once. There, that's a little better. I was really expecting this to move. I gotta think about this. That also didn't behave the way I expected it. So I just ran this thing through quite a few megahertz movement. Like if this is 11, then I put it up to, I don't know, 14 and down to 8 or something. I'm way out of the range of the radio's reception. But it kept going. So I have the sweep width up pretty high. So maybe what's happened is I've simply taken this, what I was doing this with, and I've turned it so wide now I'm not even escaping it. That's probably what's happening. That would mean if I turn this down, the effect on the screen should come and go. Where'd it go? It did go. What'd I do? What am I at? Too many things to adjust here. There's a huge range on here. Oh man, why has this happened to me? So the click was me turning off the marker generator marker frequency generator because we're not using it, and I left it on for my last experiment. That's all that was when I went click. Shouldn't do anything. Well, okay, so this is just see, this is why I video this, because I thought for sure I would turn this stuff on and within 2 seconds we would be using this and tuning the radio. What has happened? The only change I can think of here is I've connected my SDR antenna. How can that possibly throw this off? He says wistfully. Son of a gun. Well, I'm going to get rid of this. I can't imagine it's going to help anything at all. Well, let's analyze what is actually happening. So when I tune the radio, I mean, you can hear the sound. I mean, you can hear the sound getting louder, which explains why this is coming down. Or the other way around. Now, normally you would say you are tuning towards something here. As it gets louder, you're tuning towards it. So at some point here, this gets really, really loud. It's interesting. I'm right around 11.8 here, which is where the radio is roughly tuned. So, you know, I think that's just the sweep coming in. So that means if I turn the sweep down, it goes away. If I turn it up, it's in continuous. When I do this, I'm talking about the bandpass for the IF. So I'm very careful of which finger I'm selecting too while I'm doing this, but it might change later in the video, so everybody be aware. So I really want everything to be centered up. Let's turn the sweep width to minimal. Find the signal. Okay, try to get in the middle. I like that. Tune the radio. Yeah, that's what I wanted right there. Okay, so as sloppy as that is. Now we're cooking with. Well, I'm not quite cooking with gas yet. This now represents a certain frequency. In fact, I mean, this whole thing always has represented a certain frequency. Here is it different from here, different from here. The shape is changing, I bet, because I don't have this centered quite right. Widen out the sweep. Tune the radio. I don't think that's quite the right. Don't think that's quite right. Right there. Let's try again. I like that. I don't like that. So we're going to introduce another signal generator into here and use it as a marker generator and try to spot what frequency we're looking at here and all this kind of stuff. That should add more information without triggering too much confusion. Just looking for a test lead here. I need a test lead. Okay, appear to have found one. Usually when I get, you know, this number of pieces of equipment connected together, everything goes totally berserk in here. Okay, so I plan to put this right into the antenna. It's just going to be another antenna signal. Let's get it up close to where it's where we want it. Somewhere around 11. See the frequency of the frequency generator coming out of this, going on here. Now I'm going to be driving the outputs of these two generators back into each other, but I think they're pretty low signals. I'm not going to worry about it. You can see some of the signals being absorbed a little bit. I don't think it's anything to worry about. In this case, let's turn the level up a little higher. Oop. That's it. She's got no more. Okay, so tuning the radio. Not quite what I'm looking for. Now we're going to try to figure out what frequency this dot is at. Let me turn. Hey, you know what? I got the radio on restricted power all this time. On the light bulb there. How come you didn't tell me that? Turn down the radio. Turn her up a bit. Not what we want. Okay, so something's retuned a little bit. Probably the radio when I put the... Okay, with that roaring along now, I'll bring on the other signal generator here. It's at a moderate level, so I'll leave it like that for now. Not at all what I was expecting. Huh. Not at all. I was kind of expecting something to show up along the line and kind of mark a spot along it. There's the scope. You know, like we're on the speaker here. Maybe this is the wrong spot entirely to be having the scope. I really have the scope on the output of the detector. It's pretty easy to do. Let's take it off here. The instructions actually indicate where to connect the scope, and it's not on the... Yeah, for those technicians way back then that had a scope, repair guys. So we're going to put it on the basically the detector output here. Okay. So we're on the DC setting on the scope, and you can see there's a bit of a DC voltage there. As we tune the radio, that DC voltage is going to go up and down, I'm pretty sure. Let me move the... So that's the ADC, so I'm going to knock that out by switching the scope to AC input. But now this will bop around a little bit from the DC voltage settling on the scope. So that's what that bopping is now. Okay. A nice Lissajou figure there. Next step. Not at all what I expected to see there again. Let's widen out the sweep a lot. The radio went quiet. The display didn't change at all. Now maybe I'm swamping the sweep generator with the other one. Let me turn down the level on the what I'm calling a marker generator. Wow, am I ever lost on this? This is just nowhere near where... Well, once again, I've got that effect where I've turned down my signal generator to the point where I don't think we should hear anything. We still hear the tone coming from it. But can you see the little bip there? Let's see if we can get the bip a little bigger. So the bip is moving a little bit. It's right under the center line now. What I'm doing is I'm changing the frequency dramatically on... well, you can see it. You can see what I'm doing. So Okay, it's just not, it's not triggering in my head at all. What's going on here? I must be making some kind of grandiose mistake in what I'm doing. Now, this thing is supposedly putting out now, close to 20 megacycles from 14, or maybe this is really 11. Sweep is way up. Yeah, let's reduce the sweep again. Okay, maybe it's the sweep that's really throwing me off. There we are, back to it. That's pretty interesting. There's something. So I'm going to say at this point, the radio is tuned to the single frequency signal generator. It's at 11.831, and at the same, and that's what's giving the kind of what do you call it, higher frequency waves in here. And this, I'm praying, is showing the tuning spot on the front end, but I don't think it is at all. Let me tune the radio a bit and see if that. Wow. So we're tuning into the edge of the sweep. Now we got the sweep. We're in the middle of the sweep. Sweep is extending beyond the bandwidth of the radio. Now we're hitting the point where the single frequency generator is tuned. That would be right there. Well, this is kind of interesting. If this is some, I don't know, I'm just shooting in the dark here. If this is some kind of frequency response indication of the radio, shouldn't it be in the middle now? I don't know. Get the impression I got no clue what's going on here. Yeah. And we're out beyond the way beyond. Coming in. So you know what we could say, this point on the display represents 11.831. Oh, you know what I should try now? This is the whole deal. I'll adjust that front end tuning trimmer and see if that peak doesn't move somewhere. Wow, I think I gotta rotate this a bit. Oh, don't do that. Okay, I'm gonna reach around the back because I don't know what was happening there. I gotta adjust this thing from the top. Okay, watching that peak now. Does it move? Okay, it doesn't move one iota. So it's going around and around and around. I see nothing happening to it. Okay, so so here I am at the spot now where, what is it that's causing this? Is it well, okay, I lost everything. I even lost my train of thought there. So are we looking at a radio that's out of alignment in the sense that the alignment adjustment I just turned doesn't work? This is the conclusion I keep coming to when I'm doing this. The adjustment doesn't work. And or is it just, the way I'm doing this is just totally bogus? The only way I think at this point for me to really kind of conclude. Like, this looks like the right kind of display, but it's not behaving at all the right way. Let me tune in a regular station, shortwave station, if I can. Like, you know, I'm going to tune in the signal generator. I mean, it is tuned in right now. Hey, this is really easy. Turn off or throw this out of here. Throw this out of here. Turn the radio up a bit. So now I'm going to turn that adjustment. This is really simple, and we'll see if the thing doesn't tune in and out. Now, part of that is my hand touching it on and off. Let's hang on a sec here. Oh, it's quieter. So the variation is just a tiny, tiny amount. You know what? This is not around and around. This is not an around and around control. I just realized the shaft I'm turning has become extremely short. So I've been tuning this just in one direction this whole time. Just it's taken a lot of work to find out what I'm doing wrong. Okay, now I got to turn this thing all the way back. Oh my gosh, what a... So when I started, the shaft I was turning was like that long, and now it's down to this little thing I can hardly grip. It's another thing you might want, you know, think is embarrassing, but hey, here we go. This is what this is all about. I get the impression it's going around. You know why I think it's going around and around? Because as I turn it, I grab it, I turn it, I let go. Every time I grab and let go, there's a variation in the signal. And with improper brain power applied, I thought that was the control going around. Keep turning here. I got a long ways to go. Soon this thing should just leap up. Well, let me just look where my fingers are near in case I'm near something to get a shock off of. No, there's really nothing up there. I'm banking when we hit the spot. This is just going to leap up. Should be coming close now. Sounds to me like it's getting quieter. Yeah, I think we went past the spot. Past it again. So there's just a really, really shallow peak here. I would say that's it. Half a lot of drama for nothing, eh? Wow. So the reason I can't find this front end peak through all this experimenting is that there is no significant front end peak. There's no sharp curve. It's a low guy. Now, is it a low guy because there's something wrong? That question's become really valid at this point. So I think the way to approach this now, this question, first to realize the radio exhibits extreme sensitivity already. So I gotta ask myself again, what is it I'm trying to achieve here in terms of a benefit with this radio? What do I think is so bad off that I would think even now there's a component problem? Maybe this is just the way the radio works. It just doesn't peak up much more than what it is. I'm farming a lot of dead horses here. Well, I guess all I can really do again is put a regular antenna on it and once again have a listen. I think I'm getting nowhere. I think I'm getting nowhere the way it is. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so this guy off. This guy out of range there. These things off. Right, like Yeah, I think I can leave this guy on. We'll put the scopes up on the display. Why not look at it? Now for the antenna, I want to put on the long wire outdoor antenna, which is the only thing I got that's going to work on shortwave. Somewhat. Okay. It's coming here. Nothing else is on here to interfere with anything. Antenna. Ground. Didn't kill it entirely. Let's leave it on. We're on the 11 megacycle band. You know, are we going to get something? Maybe. Let's see, can I rotate this guy all the way? All the way around. Okay. .850. And you flip this on to DC here. We can watch the AVC move this up and down. Well, I'm impressed. I got a couple things already. Wow, that's just booming in. What's wrong with this radio? Nothing. It's pretty quiet now. Okay, it's so quiet. I'm going to turn that control. Okay, so I wound it back down in. So I think the idea is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the tuning for the shortwave band at the top, because these are band spread, right? I mean, on other radios, this much band is in a little tiny piece like this. So it could be that the peaking coil I'm fooling with is actually just putting a peak across the whole band, and perhaps isn't even tuning, isn't even following. I don't know, because that adjustment is only valid, is only made on the 11 megacycle band. There is no other antenna peaking adjustment for the other bands. What the heck's going on there? So that means probably there is a mild peak, and I'm moving it, the mild peak, to other parts, up here, up there. So it's not a sharp, powerful peak. That's my story now. That's my new story. Hey, what happened to the scope? Oh, I took it off. It fell off. No wonder we're not seeing anything there. There we go. And the ABC's not moving. What's the matter here? Oh, there it goes. So the signal here is so weak it's not even triggering ABC. Generating shouldn't trigger, it generates an ABC voltage. Good.
Gracias a Maite Lucio y al maestro Maite Lucio que ven informada, pero sí, eso forma parte de la historia. Nada, señores, gracias por la invitación otra vez. Ahí está, pues yo y está y ahí está producción.
Okay, we're going to go up in frequency to another band here. This is the 15 megacycle band now. 15400 to 15100. Can't make it to WWV. That's full volume there. That's not very good, is it? Up, down we go.
Una reunión de trabajo con el primer mandatario turco Fuat Oktay.
So the signal to noise ratio on this signal is
Ambos países
what?
también acordaron ampliar sus vínculos en áreas como el...
Hey, it's the putt-putt. The putt-putt has returned. It's making an appearance here in the middle of this.
Le comento que ahora mismo la televisión cubana acaba de...
This tuning knot's going to fall right out of here very soon. It's getting looser and looser as we go here. I'm going to make that my next project on this radio. Oh.
Coordinated universe time.
Oh no. That's pretty bad. I mean, it's great to tune it in, but it's at 15.1 here. So the local oscillator on the... Remember, I didn't adjust the local oscillators on this shortwave bands. I wonder if somebody did that on purpose. Oh, I wonder a lot of things. Okay. Story is... Well, we can... Story is what? Story is what, Jim? The story is this radio is working really, really well. And I'm just, really am, literally. I'm not flogging a dead horse. I'm flogging a live horse. I'm going to keep doing it till it's a dead horse. I should stop. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop at this point. I think I've figured out what's going on with this control after all these hours of messing around. I still have hope that this guy is going to be helpful at some point. Certainly hasn't really been helpful yet. And hey, maybe it's, you know what? I'll bring the cabinet in here. We'll take a peek at the cabinet and call it a day. Okay, so here's the cabinet. Now I got to tell you, I bought this radio for $10. This one we've been working on, and I bought it from a yard sale. And the lady literally pushed this into my truck while we were still talking about whether it's going to be $5, $10, or $15. So it looked to me like a write-off and at a glance. But a lot of these radios look like write-offs at a glance. When you look closer, a lot of the things that make them look old and ugly is actually really easy to fix up. But not quite the case with this cabinet. There's two things about this cabinet which are going to present a problem. And one, and first one, not a big problem, but see how it's curved here? So some of these radios have a flat board on the top, basically a flat top piece. And you can refinish the top and not touch the sides that way. Often the top needs refinishing, the bottom doesn't. The bottom part just needs a good cleanup and a few other simple restoration techniques. This guy has a curve on it. In fact, this thing is full of interesting curves. Look at all this stuff in here. Quite the deal going here. And then the second thing is the bad damage rating here, which we're going to take a close look at in a minute. You see there's a gap here too. So this is the window. Okay, when you look at the window, where's the camera? It's filthy, right? But I'm pretty sure a little bit of cleaning on this and it'll still be yellow, but you'll see through it beautifully. It'll look fine. You don't want to buy a radio that's missing knobs, the front glass is missing or cracked. You don't want to do that. If the cloth is torn or worn out, that's not a problem. This one actually looks pretty good. See, a lot of the damage that your eye is seeing and you're calculating in your brain without realizing it is all along the bottom here, where it's been kicked and banged and knocked in various ways. This can be fixed easily by painting it. Why, you don't need to refinish this bottom part. You get a paint that's roughly the right color. Often these are painted originally anyway. It's not a varnish or something like that. So get out the paintbrush. Once these things begin to disappear from view, these little marks, like you can make these marks all disappear from view very easily, this thing will start looking like new again. But let's take a look at the real problem. This is the real problem. And we'll do that as soon as I can find my other camera, which is right here, having a break. Stand up and get busy. There it is. So that's a pretty serious problem here. There's wood missing in here. Yeah, I thought this had probably lifted up, you know, like that. But it may not have. It has a little bit. This is lifted up a little bit. And this is like chewed off here somehow. And this little bit over here too. So my hope here was I would simply fill this with something that's, you know, close to the right color, or I can stain. And just, you know, I can never make this look like new again. I don't have those kinds of skills, nor do I really want to. I just want to make this so it doesn't grab your eye. When you look at the overall radio, you know, your eye doesn't get pulled here. There's going to be a knob sitting here. I don't think the knob is, well, the knob will be big enough to cover this hole, that's for sure. So it may cover a good portion of this damage. It's even damaged over here a little bit. Now see at the other side getting ready to go that way. You know, it is showing some a bit of a crack there. Hey, let's look inside and see. Okay, here's some more stuff. Looks like, I don't know what happened here, but this can all be made to disappear so easily. And if we look at the top is often really scratched up with water stains. And let me get around this way, a little better look at it here. So you see there's a where somebody put a cup or a glass and let water come down on it. Again, you know, refinishing this is a problem now. Let's see. This piece here actually is bordered all the way around here. So you could refinish this fairly easily without getting caught, you know, having to go all the way down the front. So you just can't stop here on this curve. And this front piece really actually extends all the way down to here. So you have to do this whole thing, refinish it, you know, sand it off and refinish it. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. So the level of damage here is very minimal, really. And like I said before, this is easy to fix up. So I'm feeling pretty good now. I haven't really looked at this that closely till now. Let's look in the back here. So this is the area that's cracked. Can't really. My camera's going to show that. Nope. And I can't see it either. So let me get a flashlight here. So you can look at it. So you know, I don't really evidence back here. Hey, I do see something. So, back a little bit. Yeah, this board, this whole board here is coming off. Let's see, there's some nails through it here holding this felt strip. So this is the slot that all the buttons sit in. They just sit in this slot. They can't fall through the front because they're a little bigger at the back here and they kind of really reach a mechanical stop. They can't come out the front. If no radio in here, you push the button, it's just going to fall into the cabinet. That's how these are made. This is another piece of felt that's supposed to be in here. You see, to kind of make the buttons move nice and smoothly. Do not remove speaker plug with power turned on. You can see the technique they use, of course, for doing the corners. You're going to bend a piece of wood. So, you know, these cabinets were built by cabinet makers who were busily making cabinets, you know, for around the house type stuff. And when the radios showed up, it was a natural thing for them to become the radio cabinet makers. Oh, check that out. Look at that, it says right there. 6U5 or 6T5, right on it. One or the other. Hey, look at there's a date. You can see this stuff. January 11th, 1957. 5Y4G. So this saying they replaced the 5Y4G on January 11th, 1957. January 11th, 1957, I was on the planet. So they're replacing the tube in 57, and this radio was built in 38, 39. That's 17 years. And in 1957, they obviously were still using this radio. They had somebody fix it. Two things here at once. The glue really extends out a long ways for it has a relatively small piece of paper. No, it's got to be the original. No, maybe not. No. They would never change that, would they? Warning, any person installing or operating this radio receiver without having first obtained a license. Okay, so some of that might have had very low audio. I just realized I didn't bring a microphone with me for that. A little tour. Here we are. So I got to figure out how to do this, do it, clean her up, stick the radio in. If you look just beyond that radio, in that pile of stuff over there, is the other cabinet for the 535. So I'm going to cabinetize both these radios. Or what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I going to do today? I don't know. I'm going to say goodbye to you now and be on my way for another day of excitement with my cats and everything else. Thanks a lot for watching. See ya.